All right, let's talk about what happens after an audit report is sent. Honestly, this is where the real action is. It's the most critical part of the whole process, where we go from just finding problems to actually fixing them for good. This is the aftermath.
So you've done all the work, written up a brilliant report, and hit send. The auditee says, "Got it, thanks." You're done, right? Time to close that file and move on? Oh, not even close. Sending that report is really just the beginning. It's like a detective finding the first clues at a crime scene. The actual investigation, the part where we solve the case, that's just getting started. And this right here is the golden rule we have to live by. An audit isn't just about producing a document. It's a full cycle. And that cycle has one and only one true ending: verification. Until you have cold, hard proof that the problem is fixed and it's not coming back, that case file stays wide open. So, this brings us to the first piece of evidence we get back from the auditee: their proposed plan, their CAPA. And you can think of this as their official statement. Our job as quality detectives is to put on our interrogation hats and immediately look for the lazy fixes, the ones that sound good but don't actually solve a thing. So let's be super clear about what a CAPA is. It's a two-part plan. The corrective action, that's the quick fix for the immediate problem. But the preventive action, well, that's the big one. That's the systemic change that makes sure we aren't having the same exact conversation 6 months from now. And I absolutely love this analogy because it makes it so clear. A simple correction is just mopping up the wet floor. Yeah, the floor isn't wet anymore, but the leak is still there. A real corrective action is getting in there, finding that leaky pipe, and actually replacing the seal. One is a Band-Aid on a symptom, the other is a cure for the disease. Which brings us to the number one all-time champion of lazy fixes. We'll just retrain the staff. Any experienced auditor sees that phrase and their skeptic meter goes through the roof. And why is that? Because it's usually just blaming a person for a broken process. It's blaming the guy who slipped on the wet floor instead of just fixing the darn pipe. Okay, so if retraining isn't the real answer, how do we dig deeper? How do we push past the easy excuses and really interrogate the problem until it tells us where it truly came from, the root cause? Well, we use a tool that is deceptively simple but incredibly powerful. This is the quality detective's secret weapon, for real. It's called the 5 Whys technique, and it's designed to just peel back the layers of a problem until the real systemic failure is exposed. Let's see how this works in the real world. So, problem. A patient gets the wrong drug. Okay, why? Well, the nurse picked the wrong vial. See, we could just stop there and say retrain the nurse, right? But we're not going to. We ask again, why did she pick the wrong vial? Because it looked identical to the right one. Interesting. Why? Because the manufacturer changed the label. Getting warmer. Why did that even matter? Because the pharmacy never separated the new stock from the old. Boom. Did you see how we went from blaming a person to uncovering a massive process failure? And there it is. The real culprit wasn't a careless nurse. The real culprit was a systemic failure in inventory management, or maybe change control. That is the leaky pipe that we actually need to go fix. Okay, so we did it. The auditee used the 5 Whys, they found the root cause, they have a solid plan to fix their inventory system. We're good now, right? Case closed? Not a chance. A good detective never, ever closes a case based on a promise. We need proof. We need evidence. And that proof has a name: objective evidence. This isn't some manager promising, yeah, we'll do better. No, this is data. This is service logs, trend reports, hard records. It's something you can actually measure that proves not only that the change was made, but that the change actually worked. So what does this stuff look like? Well, it could be service records that show a leaky part was replaced. It could be a trend analysis showing that customer complaints about that specific issue have dropped to 0. It could even be signed training records. But notice the huge difference here. It's for a brand new and improved procedure, not just another reminder to follow the old broken one. Now, how you go about gathering this evidence really depends on how serious the initial problem was. For a simple fix like updating a document, a desktop review is probably fine. They can just email you the new procedure. But for a major critical finding, oh, you better believe you're going back. An on-site verification where you physically go and watch the new process in action is absolutely non-negotiable. So when you're checking to see if the fix was effective, what's the magic number? What number are you looking for to prove it worked? It's this one: 0. The ultimate proof, the gold standard, is showing that the error rate for that specific problem has dropped all the way down to 0 over a set amount of time. This is what a good verification plan sounds like. It's not just, we fixed it. It's a concrete commitment. It says, we've put the fix in place, and we are going to resample the data in 3 months to prove with objective evidence that the error rate is now 0. That is how you show you're serious.
So, it's only after we've gone through all of that, the deep dive to the root cause, the solid implementation of a fix, and the hard data verifying it works, only then can we even begin to think about closing this file for good. And look, this isn't just something we make up as we go along. There are official playbooks for this stuff. Regulators like the FDA have detailed flowcharts just like this one that lay out every single step of a good CAPA system. It's all about making sure every single box is checked before you declare the case closed.
And really, it all comes down to this final checklist. Number 1, are the changes actually in place? 2, do you have the data to prove the root cause is gone? 3, and this one is so important, did your fix accidentally create a new problem somewhere else? And 4, has enough time gone by to be confident this problem is really, truly dead and not coming back?
And once you can say yes to every single one of those questions, and only then, the auditor finally issues the last piece of paper, the Certificate of Audit Closure. That is the formal end to the whole journey. The case is now finally officially closed.
But of course, if you're a true quality detective, you know the work is never really done. Sure, this case is closed, but systems are always changing, always evolving, always creating new mysteries to solve. So the real question is, what will you uncover next?